race fans, Ryan Eho here. I'm going to talk a little Midwest modified racing, mostly with soda, a little bit of non-sanctioned stuff kind of filtered in, primarily from the tracks where the drivers race with soda events, right? So there's a few of those. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit of results first, right? We'll talk a little results, but then we're going to unveil the initial version of the 2023 power rankings. Now, before we get into it here, little shout out to our friends over at Minnesota Truck Headquarters, right? Your number one pre-owned truck dealer there in the state of Minnesota. You want to give them a call. This gentleman he does a lot for the sport. Minnesota Truck Headquarters. You need to check that place out. They are flat out getting it done. If you want a winning combination, that's the winning combination. Minnesota Truck Headquarters. Now, let's jump into a little results. A couple weeks back. Didn't do a show 2 weeks or last week. So we're going to touch a little bit on a couple races from then, touch a little bit on this past week's races, then we'll get into the good stuff, right? So out in Wyoming, a couple weeks back, Gillette Thunder Speedway, Matt Heinzerling parking in victory lane. Second win of the year for Heinzerling. Tony Leiker, a DNF. Great run for him. Heinzerling, a guy that I could definitely see hitting double digit or higher, right? Maybe the higher double digits, not 10, 11, could be 15, 16 wins here in 2023. Minnesota over at Fiesta City Speedway in Montevideo. The 34J of Derek Reek. He got the opening night win over there. And DNF there for Lance Schill. Made the trip all the way down from the northern part of North Dakota. Darren Anguser had a nice second place finish. But Derek Reek, another guy, super, super consistent, getting that opening night win. I-94 EMR Speedway in Fergus Falls. The 71 of Nate Ranke, absolutely give him an ass kicking. And this was a who's who. There was a stacked field of Midwest mods over at Fergus Falls, and he flat out dominated. How stacked was it? Second place, the Nightmare Lucas Rodin. Third place, Mike Nichols, right? Two good hot rods. 32 cars over there, and he absolutely stomped him. His first win at Fergus. Congratulations to Nate. Another driver, this guy no stranger to victory lane at all, Sheridan Speedway, the 18 of Tony Leiker, second of the year, Switzenberg second. I said, 2 down, 28 to go. He goes, bullshit, I'm stopping at 29. Don't even talk to me about points. See what happens. I'd like to see him race for a natty. South Dakota Black Hill Speedway, Rapid City, the 31 of Kyle Harkin. He had a great run out there. Harkin, the 08 of Woodhead second, Heinzerling third. So Kyle Harkin with an early season win out west. Let's jump into last week's here. Last week's we had another handful of shows. Let's start with Minnesota Fiesta City Speedway. First career win, Matt Everts, and he looked really good. Great run for Matt there. I have a good feeling he ain't going to finish 2023 with one. It's going to be one right after another. He looked really, really good. Congratulations to him. Hope the next one comes a lot sooner than it took you to get this one. Granite City Motor Park. I thought this kid was mostly going to run A-mods, but he's going to run some B-mod stuff as well. Jake Smith getting it done. Your 2022 Wissota Midwest Mod National Champ. Absolutely on cruise control. Track was a little cowboy up, but that car was smooth, and it didn't even seem to phase the 21. That thing was on a rail, and Jake Smith with a win here in May. Electric City Speedway out in Great Falls, Montana. Michael Schur, another first career win. That's a tip of the cap to you right there. Congratulations. It is absolutely awesome getting them first wins out of the way, and I have a feeling you're going to get more, and hopefully it's soon. Devil's Lake Speedway over in Prairie, North Dakota. Austin Hunter made the trip down from Winnipeg. He threw a pretty nasty slider on old Jory Berg. Berg kind of rolling the high side, and the top was kind of the place to be. He threw the haymaker, had plenty of room. Berg lifted, just about went off the racetrack, but he garnered it back up there. Austin Hunter, usually in the conversation for national points. We'll see what happens this year. Eagle Valley Speedway over in Jim Falls, Wisconsin. They had the Hope for Heather B-Mod special. This course non-sanctioned, 1,000 to win for this one on last Friday night. Flying Ryan Olson brought his car up there. Normally runs USRA B-Mods like down at Mississippi Thunder. Hooked up on the high side, absolutely put her on cruise control. And this kid wins a lot of races. Super fun to see. Congrats, Ryan Olson. Mike Widman, incidentally, got second. And Hope for Heather, that would be his better half, his wife, battling stage 4, I believe stage 4 cancer. I don't remember which cancer. She told me, but I should know that. But hopefully, prayers for her. Hopefully she gets on the men. But cool to see him get up on the podium, get a second place finish. I know he wanted that win, but Heather Widman, the real win would for her to get into remission. That would be the real win. Red Cedar Speedway, 7th annual Randy Buss Icebreaker over in Menominee. Nick Ayotte, the monkey off the back. This kid right here literally was in the conversation, right? I mean, he was always kind of there. Just I think he had one win over there last year, and boy, he finally got one done. Shadow Kitchener, your track champion there last year, put some heavy pressure on him, kind of threw a haymaker there in the closing laps and picked up a little bit of a push in the moisture, went up the racetrack. Nick Ayotte, your opening night winner in Menominee, Wisconsin. Rice Lake Speedway, another national championship contender right here, the 17B. Zach Benson, kid's a wheelman. He kind of struggled. I think he had a new car last year. End of the year, he started getting a little bit faster. He's going to be a front runner all year long. He already got one done. The only feature that raced over at Rice Lake. So let's jump into it here, folks. The BuyRaceShirts.com. One to go show, Midwest Mod Power Rankings, starting it out with 2023. This class is tough. There's a lot of really good racers. There's a lot of drivers that moved up, right? That are leaving the doors open. But right now, this is my top 10. If I took all the Midwest B-Mod drivers, put them all in one group, right? And I said, we're having a special. These are the 10 that I think would be the toughest to beat right out of the gate here in 2023. And I know there's a few of you that are going to be a little butthurt because you didn't make the list. That don't mean I don't love you. That just means that you probably were 11th. Okay, you probably were 11th, all right? At number 10, Matt Heinzerling. Absolute rocket ship. He wins a bunch of races and gets a little bit of grief because of his location, where he lives. You can't choose where you live. I mean, you can, I guess, right? But, just because he's that far out west doesn't mean he's not a good driver. Ask the Likers, right? They know. Matt Heinzerling in at number 10. At number 9, we're going to go north of the border. Brandon Rehill. He had a big year last year. Breakout season for the 4. Parked in Victory Lane double-digit times. Got my attention. I watched some of his races. Great car control, great poise. Mostly stays up there. I would love to see him make a trip down and race some of our area tracks. I think he'd be a contender. Some of the other Canadians do. Brandon Rehill at number 9. At number 8, let's head out to South Dakota. The 14, Adam Brotherton. Brotherton, he's Miller and Huron. He's like dang near unbeatable, right? He's good at Casino. He's good at Aberdeen, but he's really good at those two. He's got Nichols to contend with as well. So Brotherton, I can see a double-digit win deal, top 5 in the national points. But if I had to put him head-to-head, I think Nichols is just a step up. No offense there, Brotherton. You're still in the top 10, but it's going to be a fun battle to watch. You got Hansen out there, too, that runs really good, among others. Let's go to number 7, north of the border. Dave Simpson. He was a podium driver there for the national points last year and comes down from Canada, double digit this year. He's actually a Thunder Bay car. Incidentally, Thunder Bay last year had the biggest, by far the biggest weekly car count in the Midwest Modified division. Sounds like a bunch of drivers got supers. He's one of them. But Dave Simpson, a kid that comes down, great family name up there in Canada. I can see him being in contention at the end of the year for a possible national championship run. At number 6, another kid that, man, I would love to see this kid run for a natty. Kind of reminds me of me, a little bit mouthy once in a while, but that's why I like him. We got Cody Carlson in the 32. Probably the best year he had was last year. Same equipment, same car. He's on the rise. Got a few area drivers that are no longer in, right? They're no longer in the Midwest Modified class. That leaves the door open. If there was ever a year for the 32 to contend for a natty, this is it. Get it done. At number 5, Travis Sauer, right? The old cowboy himself out in I guess Fergus Falls, Alexandria. You got a couple hitters there that moved up. Blasick being one of them, moved up to the Amon. With a couple drivers moving up there, and he was already fast winning races last year. Could Travis Sauer possibly be in contention for an Addy? I don't know if he'll run enough. I know he'll run 2 nights a week. If he can maybe slide in a third night every once in a while, there's no question. But Travis Sauer, one of the most fun drivers to watch, especially in the B mod. He's good in everything he's been in, but he gets in that Midwest mod class, he is super fun to watch. Number 4, Tony Liker. I'd probably have him higher, but I just don't know how much he's going to race. They didn't race much last year. Troy's going to take some wins once he has use of his appendages there, kind of had some surgery. But the Likers, there's a lot of bias in Wissota. Oh, man, if they're that far out west, it can't be very good, right? I mean, the Minnesota guys, they're just better. Wissota is, Wisconsin and Minnesota. Yeah, okay. All right, let's relax just a little bit, right? I don't care if you're North Dakota, South Dakota, Canada. There's freaking good drivers all over the place. These two right here, the Likers, and particularly Tony Liker, you don't want him to move over to like central Minnesota because he would probably be the number 1 contender for the national championship. And he still might be if he races enough. At number 3, here's another kid. I think this could be his year. Right, I don't want to jinx him. But if you had a gun to my head, this kid would be my pick to win the national championship in 2023. Now, the next 2 are probably going to beat him head to head if they have some specials. So I think the next 2 are just a little bit better. But Zach Benson is going to have a big year this year. Keep an eye on that 17. You heard it here first. National championship 2023, the 17, Zach Benson. At number 2, he'd be in contention. Just don't know if he's going to race enough shows. I know he has a kid on the way, so that might cut into how much he races later in the year. The 67 of Mike Nichols. Unbelievable car control. If you haven't been out to the Casino Speedway in Watertown, you need to get there, and he's one of the reasons why. Super fun to watch. Going to be fun to watch him here in 2023. And at number 1, I don't think he's going to race for a natty. He ain't going to run that much, probably. But I can see him winning a 3rd straight Rebel Midwest Modified Tour. I can see him winning a bunch of races. The Nightmare, Lucas Rodin. I'm going to start him out at number 1. Kind of had a rough start to the year last year. But if he can just get rid of some of them DNFs and some of that stuff, right? Get rid of some of that stuff. He's got the speed. And he's going to win a lot of races here in 2023. So that's it. I know it probably ruffled some feathers. I know there's probably a few feelings hurt. You want to get on that list, win some races, right? There's going to be a lot of it coming up soon. If you want to see it, if you're a fan, you want to see some of these guys, jump on to Dirt Race Central. I mean, they have a lot of racing action, the official streaming platform of Wissota. Check it out on there. But that is it, folks. The BuyRaceshirts.com One to Go Show Midwest Mod Power Rankings. Your number 1 driver to start the season. The Nightmare, Lucas Rodin.